Oh, good morning, family. What's going on out there, ladies and gentlemen? Us who are the 700 plus, almost 800 strong, who view, who listen to, who believe in, who subscribe to, who long hope for, hunger and thirst after that which is a different view. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in and thank y'all for walking this road, this journey with me. I have yet to see the new episode of Agatha All Along, but I think it is very apropos that and it'll probably come out later on today, while we're here on a midweek Wednesday, right? In the morning, right? Taking time to take steps as we go, whether it's the beginning of a work week, the middle of the work week, or the end of the work week, going toward rest, right? As our parents and grandparents used to prepare and get really hyped to be with their families on the weekend after working hard for the man for 7 days or 5 days straight, right? Whatever it was, right? Family, y'all welcome into a different view. Today's topic, your boy, now again, we done talked about that your boy is Christian, that he is a sports fan, right? Again, while I don't consider myself an analyst, we have been watching football and paying attention to its ins and outs for a while now. And you pick up on a thing or two after time, right? Your boy is a Cowboys fan, again, coming from New York. I know, shout out New York one time, right? And while we're doing these shout outs about the states, we pray for repair and recovery for the people that are either in Florida on the East Coast, that southern coast that normally this time of year. I know there's some folks out there that feel some of these storms are orchestrated on a certain level or technologically done and all that kind of thing. And again, we put everything on the table, ladies and gentlemen. We don't do this. We don't talk about Bruno over here because that don't help. The idea of, hey, you just can't talk to folks about religion, finances, and government is a farce, y'all. The inability, aka the hardness of people's hearts, is the reason why you can't talk about it. But don't come back to your boy and tell me that we shouldn't be talking about it, because the only way you get resolution to these issues and any issue in life is when you talk about it. That's the first place where the healing can begin, and it's quite obvious on areas that are so divisive. They've been made to be very divisive. They themselves are not divisive. No different than communism, capitalism, Marxism, and socialism as some of the base and contemporary or popular socioeconomic thoughts. Ain't nothing wrong with them in and of themselves. Do y'all know what is the connecting factor, as we've said on this podcast, between them all? Ladies and gentlemen, family, it's the people. It is the people, it's the government official, it's the folks, it's the inaction or action of the citizens, it's the people. And it is time for those, right, especially to our Christian brothers and sisters, if y'all on the watchtower, y'all doing all that praying, right? We coming up on January 1st and December 31st, we going to have them watchtower, right? New Year's Eve, New Year's Day parties and all this kind of services, right? We're going to sit there and shout hallelujah. But nobody's gonna tell the truth about the enemy coming toward the camp, coming toward the castle, coming toward the village. Them days got to be over, y'all. If you want to come up higher, them days got to be over. Something that I had not mentioned when I was on, when we were talking last time, again, about the struggle being real, because the struggle is very real. Do not just take that as a catchphrase. The struggle is very real, y'all, right? We're going to get today into your boy Jerry Jones. Of course, we're going to talk about Stephen A. Smith and his constant cooning, if you will, for the man, for Massa. I don't know where that comes from, brother. If you hear this, listen to me now. This idea of keeping the NFL and the NBA as is current constituted, while it's in the MLB, while it is, when you look at the history of sports, y'all, I'm sorry. It's a cool distraction from everyday life, and we get it, right? but the underlying tones must be addressed continuously. Player safety has got, I'm sorry. Oh, that's not my daddy's football. Don't you realize your daddy was cracking his neck open for no reason? That was to see again, we don't talk about nothing. So you can't get no resolution in anything. So how many more Junior Seau's do we need, ladies and gentlemen, right? We talk about this with Chris Benoit, of course. The first thing that everybody talks about getting into over in wrestling now, when you talk about Chris Benoit, is it's time to clean up the integrity in sports, y'all. I'm sorry, we coming for it all. It don't matter whether it's movies or anything. If we gonna put our dollar and money and time and effort to it, hello, maybe just a few levels higher. No? And that's why you don't get anything. See, when the NFL started that whole PSL thing, we're going to get back on the Junior Seau thing here in a second. But that PSL thing, when they started that way back when they're charging you now for the, again, so you got to come out now, it's going to be more money. We're not only just making more money for the seats as an excuse with that PSL mess, but then we're catering to those who have more money than you. That we sat there back and forth all those years ago, making defense for it and all that kind of mess. We are okay. Give an excuse for massa. Never an excuse for the worker, for the slave. Always for massa. And y'all want to sit there and have this kind of, we want to sit there, family, and have this kind of idea around the proverbial table of life, the proverbial dinner table of life, like everything is all right. Like it shouldn't be talked about. Where did that deception come in? That's wild, y'all. Anyway, you got folks like Jerry Jones that are okay back in the day as he's a kid. I don't give a damn as a child. No. Penalty is a penalty, and right is right and wrong is wrong or is not. Ladies and gentlemen, we see again. You suck down Massa's doctrine so much that it's no different than what the Bible talks about. People calling right, wrong, and wrong, right. When it comes to player safety, I'm sorry, you can't be having like what we saw with it's all cool to watch these human car wrecks every down on Sundays and Saturdays and all this kind of stuff. But where are we going with this, ladies and gentlemen? More money for you in the stadium that most people don't have enough money for. More money going to the owner, right? This is what you're funding. More money to while they got different names for all these teams, which we won't get into that topic. It's a separate topic, right? All these different things that we support. Now you have the media that comes out, and again, you have people like what everybody gonna go ham for in a couple of weeks here. They're gonna go to the voting poll and vote for people. Vote for a man that thinks this way, where the media is so horrible. There ain't a whole lot of fake news going on. There's a lot of fake news out there. Don't get me wrong. But you don't lay that at the feet of the media. Do y'all think somebody is buying them? See, media's just a venue. Somebody's controlling what's put out there. But we don't want to talk about who is doing the buying of these newscasts and various media, right? Music, art, news, they're various media, okay? We've already gone over the definition of that on this podcast. If not, go back to some earlier episodes where we talk about it, right? We don't want to talk about them because, see, that's too difficult. You talking about high-priced, high-powered people. Especially as Christians, right? This is the same thing for anybody who has belief, man. Buddhists, Hinduists, right? Spiritualists of all different types. Hello? This even applies to the atheist. If you got any level of anything that deals with good, that deals with chaos, birth, rebirth, anything like that. What are we doing, y'all? This a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of admonishment this morning. See, again, as a Cowboy fan, this ain't because the team is losing. We're talking, okay? Oh, see, again, we look for the really easy excuses. He's just a disgruntled Cowboy fan. The team is playing like trash. I'll be the first one to say it. And it's been like that for a while. They've been very mediocre. Because, again, you get away from the fundamentals of football, which is around the offensive line, which is around the defensive line. I know some of us, some family here, y'all going to hear me saying some things. Again, when you're looking at the TV, the big fat people right in the middle. right? These damn big fat people right in the middle, right? Those that's one. The one near the quarterback is the offensive line, and the one away from him. I'm just saying, just to make it plain. See, sometimes you got to talk to people, make it plain, y'all. We get so high. Again, one of them old school words is highfalutin, right? Out here in the South and all that kind of thing, the Midwest, highfalutin. Big old southernized country word for we got to use all these big words and terms and numbers. Not you got to talk plain to people, right? Listen, when these officials, right, because they taking your money every time you buy these tickets to these things, right? This is why we need to stop going. If you see injustices going on, stop going to the games. But they know people are addicted. They know you're addicted to pleasure in all forms, shapes, and sizes. Which is why just getting back to this thing on different things with relationships and stuff like that, we need to stop down in people's body types. Massa taught you that. Man, a person likes what they like, big, short, fat, tall, skinny, thick, chubby. I don't care what words we use it. And we do this stuff and it's damaging and it hurts people. You make magazines, Elle magazine, hell, even different things like Ebony and Jet magazine, all of these different things. Listen, your body type is as the good God made you above, here beneath on this planet, and you live in that beauty, man. Now, this is not an excuse to be overweight or to be underweight or none of that. We're just talking about you need to be happy about you. And again, when it comes to player safety and being sure that these players, participants, whether we're talking sports entertainment like wrestling or actual, the way they make this division, because again, it ain't like you're not running around in the ring, but I digress. Again, you go talk to a wrestler like that, you'll see, never mind. Still in the gym, you're still running around, we're still doing stuff. You're still taking hits. Anyway, when it comes to sports, these people are putting in the work and they should be paid, just like you should be paid. But see, they stand up for themselves, and the every average day worker, the average everyday worker, does not. That's the difference. It's got nothing to do with the money. It's got to do with the mindset. If that was the case, then everyone who stood up for Labor Day wouldn't have had a shot in hell because they didn't have enough money to stand up against those big companies back then, right? Never mind. So at the end of the day, again, one or two, us telling folks, hey, you see it, you go do it, ain't gonna do it. The boss don't go out there with just himself to be like, hey, I'm the boss of this one company, so they all band together. So guess what? That's what we gotta. Never mind. No, ain't everything fake out there. People are really being hurt. You're sitting there in basically car wrecks, as they've studied in science, in sports, consistently every down as far as football is concerned. Similar thing happens in hockey. And then you compound that with blades on your feet. But I digress, right? We don't want to look at this stuff because we just want the, oh yeah, look how he knocked him out. We're bloodthirsty, y'all. You got to be careful about how far that goes. Right, we go a little far, y'all. I'm just saying, your boy KJ, we just talking as a family. We go a little far, right? So, no, a lot of things there. I don't take the easy excuse. It's very easy to just, let's not talk about this and this ain't this and that ain't that. But all the meanwhile, they setting up a plan to screw you. So we're gonna get into another little video. Finally, your boy KJ starting to get some of these videos. This one's going to be a combination here from ESPN on First Take, right? I want to say this was like a day or so ago. This might have been yesterday, actually, right? Where on 105.3 in Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, right? Texas radio station. Shout out to Texas one time, right? AKA Mexico, but we'll leave that alone. At the end of the day, right? I'm sorry, y'all. This is the truth of it, okay? No, that was way back then, KJ. No. Don't you separate the past like that. Again, karma is very real, man. And if you took from some folks back then, if the government that we are under took from folks back then, you may want to be careful that thing don't come back around the other way. But I digress. Okay. At the end of the matter, right? Stephen A., Jerry Jones, talking about the Cowboys' woes. Again, as a Cowboy fan, we already know it's real cool to pay all these people. And they got that money every year. They come up with $1 billion. As Forbes comes up almost seemingly every year. Dallas is at least in the top 5. The Dallas Cowboys in the top 5 of teams making that money. Normally right up there with the Yankees and the Lakers, so on and so forth, right? We're not going to look up the list. You can look up the list, okay? Look up the list for 2024, 2023's most profitable teams, man. It's sad, right? So they pull all that money, and again, the average everyday sports fan is the one that's doing it, the one who watches the games. Same thing, your viewership is making them dollars, y'all. Why would you want to sit there and there are other things that you could pour back into your own life instead of you. Never mind. Somewhere along the line, people will get it. Let's get into the video. It's about 3 minutes. Little 3 to 5 minute clip here. We're gonna play it. We're gonna have the commentary on it. Give some. We'll have a little commentary, some ending, and then we'll go on about our day. Let's get into this clip.
Now, if you think I'm interested on a damn phone call with you over radio, and sitting here and throwing all the good out with the dishwater, you have got to be smoking something over there this morning. Your job isn't to let me go over all the reasons that I did something and I'm sorry that I did it. That's not your job.
Well, my job is to ask
why. A job, or I'll get somebody else to ask these questions, man.
Jerry, we're trying to.
I got to pause here because again, some thoughts will flood my mind that I will miss. When do we, ladies and gentlemen, are we talking they're workers? They're workers at a radio station. When do we get fed up? I got to be clear here. We're talking now. See, what we're getting into now is proper working conditions. When do you, as the owner of a football company, but we understand how Jerry Jones is because he is of a mindset that is definitely purely bred from masses doctrine, right? He done sucked down so many bottles of syrup, y'all, that I don't think he knows how many at this point anymore, right? This is what happens when your mind is totally conceptualized, just drenched in this deception. This is what it sounds like. We done heard family members talk like this. We done heard employers and employees talk like this. Ladies and gentlemen, the job of the reporter, the job of these people, now, honest in truth, correct, okay? Their job is to ask you questions. He knows the way he set up his team this year and prior years, right? Because it doesn't, no different than the government when they talk this mess with the president. Presidents are operating off the last government and presidents' policies. That's how this works. So before we sit there and be like, no, they just came up with something new. Normally by the time their stuff kicks in, it takes a minute. Maybe every once in a while they get little things here put in here and there. And it's the same thing in sports. You got to play with the contracts that you made years prior that affect you down the road because they can affect you down the road. You backlog your contract too much, right? Or if you upfront the contract too much, it can affect how you make moves for other players and positions as needed to help the team run correctly, right? Jerry Jones is very, very flashy. Everything got to look flashy. So it's good quarterback, it's good receivers, it's good running backs. Now, lately, his running backs ain't been worth the you know what. Okay, this again, he ain't paying attention to time and all that stuff. My man is still living in 1990 something. We get that. Most Cowboy fans, unfortunately, because there ain't been a whole lot of winning going on, been living in the 90s. Keep it 100, y'all. We gotta see again. We gotta stop the hoax. Okay, and it is what it is. Historically, as a team, very, very good historical team. Okay, you go back to the times of Roger Staubach, right? Tom Landry, right? We understand, okay? The Doomsday Defense, the 90s, the triplets, right? With Aikman, Emmett, and Michael Irvin. We understand the defense was we get all that, right? But somewhere along the line, they made that man money. They took the team from where it was nothing as an expansion team back in the day, right? I want to say the 60s, and then brought it to where it is today, where, again, it is one of the top teams. I mean, for crying out loud, the man made a jumbotron so big in the stadium that when the punters kick, if they kick it too high, it's hitting that's how big the jumbotron is. What are we doing, man? Anyway, right? We're talking about when you get so consumed with money, where you're out of balance. All right. This is where this man is. Now, again, we're talking about how do you get there, talking about generations and stuff like that, right? Again, these things get passed down. Don't you believe that mess about it's in your genes? This mess is getting passed down around dinner tables damn near every day. Of course on Sunday, but damn near every day, right? And it's bred in the mind, and unless you renew your mind, you're going to you go with it, right? So this man's sitting here now, so he above everybody. He's already made mistakes in running his team. Now he telling these workers here on this radio station, y'all better not ask me nothing. I'm gonna get rid of your jobs. All this is how they sound. You tell me I'm not supposed to defend myself against folks who think like this? I'm supposed to walk in love so much that what the Bible is telling me is that I'm supposed to walk so in love with my enemy that I'm not supposed to defend myself against that. I'm telling you that's taken out of context. Let's continue.
Figure out why the team is.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. You're not going to figure out what the team is doing right or wrong. If you are, or any 5 or 10 like you, you need to come to this meeting I'm going to today. There are 32 teams here. You're geniuses.
Jerry,
okay? Y'all really think you're going to sit here with a microphone and tell me all of the things that I've done?
All right, we're gonna pause it there for a second. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen, because the man's BS is super smelly at this moment. So we just to keep it not too colorful with the language, but we just, okay. So again, he has made mistakes in running his team, signing the right players, not trusting his staff around him to do the job instead of for him, and back out and just be the financier. No, he got to be. It's kind of like George Steinbrenner was back in the day, right? It just so happened. Shout out to the '90s Yankees. Shout out to the Yankees right now. Hopefully they continue this run that they're doing throughout the postseason. They get to the World Series and possibly win number 28, right? We're talking historical good teams, right? This is on top of the Negro Leagues that help baseball get where it is, but we'll leave that alone. I'm just saying, we're talking historically now, right? That affects the Yankees. That affects a lot of teams, but regardless, okay? The man has made mistakes running his team. We don't hold accountable for that. We only talk about the good. Is that what we're doing now? This is the separation and I don't call it separation anxiety, cognitive dissonance. This is kind of what we're doing here when we don't talk about nothing, y'all. We everything is just about the good stuff. When clearly the bad is what's making the good stuff. See, again, when you talk about the frontier in this nation, you can't talk about the frontier and the settlers that settled these lands, so quote unquote, settled these lands without talking about the same government they were under that killed off the people already living on these lands. I'm sorry, right? This is the real of this. This is the heart of this. So and now that same mentality comes up here with Mr. Jerry Jones, where you have mismanaged this team for years. Not like, I had a oopsie for the last 4 months. We're talking years now. It's been seasons it's been like this. And solely because of the play of certain players, i.e. Dak Prescott, has the team been as good as it is with barely any offensive line. This man hasn't upgraded his offensive line since he had the good one that the Cowboys couldn't beat the Packers with back in the day, right? We all remember that. Everybody's sitting there talking about how Tony Romo had all this time to throw, right? Because they finally drafted a good offensive line after all that time leading up to that season, right? Do you know the last time the Dallas Cowboy defensive line? And again, all these podcasts have comments, y'all. So if you want to leave, let's be respectful, okay? Again, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on YouTube, /YouTube Studio. We're all over. Spread the word. Again, your boy talks about all the different scenarios here of life. You got to, okay? From what I've seen, again, the opinion of the content creator here, because people get in their feelings. But this is where we're at. Let's continue.
Done wrong and without going over the right.
I mean, what did he think he was going to get asked about on a Tuesday after the worst home loss in bajillion years? And
so of course, now we get over the what you're hearing. Young lady is now set. We're on. This is like we said. It's on ESPN. It's on First Take. So now they're setting up the reaction to this beautiful phone call by this fool, right? Cowboy fan, let me talk to y'all for a second. If you really care about football, you care about the team. Again, we understand that the word cowboy here is highly derogatory because it was something that was spoken to black folks that deals with this idea of not being a cow hand, farm hand, or helper, or person, man, whatever. You had to Call him boy. This is the history that you can look right up online. Okay. So you got a team now named after this. While they sat there and they changed the Washington Redskins to Commanders and all that, right? Which will leave that alone. So now, so Warwick got a couple of strikes against this team, okay? I'm just saying. I understand we look past things. We're like, I get that, okay? But at the end of the day now, this is and success with this team surrounding all this kind of stuff. Dallas Cowboys are one historically, we're talking one of the top teams in football. There's no anyway. So now when it comes to it, here's good old Stephen A. Smith about to give his commentary. Y'all just listen.
so we sit here today hearing a feisty Jerry Jones. I mean, this is probably the least surprising thing I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, y'all want me to go
Go
first?
ahead.
Oh, yeah,
Of course we
please.
do.
Please.
Listen. I love Jerry Jones. I mean, I troll the Cowboys and the whole bit, and we know that, but I've got a personal relationship with the man. I got a lot of love for him.
Right there is the issue. When did we start doing the proper justice for people, right? And again, this definitely goes out to Christian folks because, again, if we're going to intake these sports and do all this kind of stuff, when did personal relationships cloud the judgment? I'm not giving any big ups to this man because of the fact that I've got a personal relationship with him. This is the same thing with friends. This is why a sick, twisted mess goes on with our friendships, ladies and gentlemen. So we know these people, but they're doing wrong, so we give it a pass because we know them. Same thing in families. That's why it's messed up in families. Oh, that's my mama, that's my daddy. So it's okay that they abuse you? This is the part that's hard to get around the Menendez case, as that's now started to come up in life again. Abuse of children is abuse of children. You want to tell me that those kids made that up? Okay, fine. Well, again, in the spirit of objectivity, we'll put that argument on the table. Yet, if that's true, and Lord knows we have seen kids have been abused by their parents, especially those who are high, mighty, and powerful for the longest, right? Because again, kids are part of the underclass, the way this society has been made. My personal connection to you don't matter. Right is right and wrong is wrong, or else it ain't right and it ain't wrong, right? Never mind, let's keep going.
He has not done a good job. What he did this off season has proven to be a dereliction of duty.
Are you crying? No.
Okay, we'll just leave that alone because that's an ad. And as much as needed to be said was just said right there. So, again, Stephen A. goes into his normal cooning for folks. And clearly, unfortunately, a lot of it is with Jerry Jones. This man does not need a pass anymore. These folks who have a lot of money, y'all, as we close now, because I'm not going to really get into too much. I made, you know what? Let me just let me do this as we end here. There's no reason to give anybody. They don't give you credit. Lord, I hope this mentality gets on the inside of somebody today, man. You know, they're not giving you any credit for what you do in life, y'all. They don't, right? They give you barely any. They tell you how much you should be better. They give you all of the reasons why they can't pay you the way they should, because you need to be better in certain circumstances. Yet when it comes back to that massa, we got too many house Negroes in the camp today, y'all. Too many of them have been bought by massa. And you hear it come out in their mouth. Y'all, it don't work that way. If they hold you accountable, can somebody tell me? Yo, can somebody tell me why we cannot hold them accountable? When did that change, y'all? When did that change? It doesn't matter celebrity. It doesn't matter government official. It doesn't matter sports owner. They taking your hard-earned money that you don't have to begin with. Some do, but many don't. Barely struggling to go to these football games. Spending stupid amounts of money. Going in debt for these games, y'all. Come on, somebody. And what we do is, not good enough. Not good enough. Viewership and participation going to the games needs to drop for the Dallas Cowboys until that team gets right. Y'all, I'm sorry. Come on. So, what? But ain't nobody ready to do that. See, this is what we mean. Your owner, is okay putting their money where their mouth is, but we're not for some odd reason. Again, your boy KJ over here tells you the reason all the time. It's time we let this mess go, y'all. Anyway, again, so going down on this strong man thing, because the strong man parable is said multiple times throughout the Gospels. This one is in Luke chapter 11. Again, reading out of the King James Version. Same kind of idea. The Sanhedrin, the holy folks, got a problem with how things are happening, thinking that it's the devil that's helping a person, something nefarious that's helping a person. No, it's of the holiest type of thing, right? Again, Jesus saying the same thing, knowing their thoughts. Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. A house divided against itself falleth, right? When a strong man armed keepeth his palace. This is just another way it's said, right? His goods are in peace, clearly, right? You got your stuff. Think about you and your house. Everything is cool in your house. Ain't nothing. Everything is cool, right? You are the strong man in this case, or strong woman, right? But when a stronger than he shall come upon him, again, stronger than they shall come upon him, and overcome him. Again, this thing works for women just the same. You want to keep your house, you got to keep yourself ready against anybody. There are different things that you can train your mind in where it can be done in a very peaceful manner, but we ain't playing no games over here. You better not bring that ruckus. This is for real, y'all. And again, you can be loving and as peacekeeping as possible, but harm and destruction to people and society is not something we live by over here. Ooh, I'm about to make a name for myself over here, right? Right? Shout out to Gambit and Deadpool versus Wolverine one time, right? Not over here. Okay? When a stronger than he is come upon him, this is verse 22, and overcome him. So when that whole thing happens, the person is stronger than you because at some point you stopped keeping your palace and your goods in peace. You went away from that. That's how someone stronger comes in. That's what that's what Jesus is telling folks between them two verses. When a stronger than he shall come upon him and overcome him, he taketh from him all his armor wherein he trusted and divided his spoil. See, even more telling in that is that you trusted in the armor. You trusted in the stuff, not the principle of being ready when anybody come by you. See, and normally, especially with our black brothers and sisters, other groups are like this. Are from India, right? Our Indian brother, they have a certain air and attitude about them that you have to keep in check, right? But it's there for a reason, because people messed with folks back then, y'all. Those darker skin tone groups, they messed with them mercilessly. How do you think in the psyche you would then respond? I'm just asking a question. You see it with different Italians and the Scottish and the Irish, right? The Welsh and the English. We see it. We see it. It happens over there a lot. With Germans and certain folks, they don't take no mess from nobody. So why would we think it any different of the darker skin tone folks? That DID is high at work, man. I tell you what, the mind is, when they was doing that for the NAACP, with the mind being a terrible thing to waste, man, it's not just black folks. People have been wasting their gray matter, man, of all cultures. Yeah. It's time to rethink again, y'all. Rethink it again. Right? They got that Remax group out there that does like refinancing and all that kind of stuff. I believe that's what Remax is, right? Let me check myself while we're here on the close. It's a real estate company, right? So you got your Remax for that, but ain't nobody got no rethinking in their mind, man. We got to stop trusting in the stuff and in the one who made the stuff. And again, even if you don't believe in God, the fact that you see in people in this earth and all that kind of stuff around you, man, deserves protection. Keep and dress this planet, y'all, is our directive from that which is the greatest of greats, man. Right? So that's what we got for y'all today, family. Again, don't y'all put up with no mess, man. Some things here. We were talking about that Progressive commercial. Progressive was talking about the economy and not talking. There was a little kid there while everybody is on the Progressive commercial talking about the economy. The kid asks, "What is economy?" And nobody had an answer. They sat around looking real stupid. You better be able to have a conversation with your children about this world around you before somebody else you don't want talking to them is talking to them about this world around you, right? That's not it. Something that I learned from the missus here is a very true statement. Specificity, right? Or speaking specifically on a subject is a necessity. Specificity is a necessity. There's a tongue twister for y'all today, right? It is very necessary, man. It's cool to generalize topics, but we got to talk specifically on things, especially if we want to understand a different view, right? And until next time, as always, ladies and gentlemen, look to find the beauty in a different view.